Chat, good evening. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to another Scrim School ScrimCast. I am your host, Bobby Sox. If this is your first time here, what this is the first hour or so. We talk with the guests, we get to have conversations, you guys get to ask questions, get to learn from these two insane players. The second hour or so, we bring in viewers from the community. You guys get to play with these incredible players, learn from them, ask them questions in more of a one-on-one sense, not like you usually get to do in their streams. Our guests this week are Kami and Dixies. I am beyond excited. These two are insane. Absolutely insane. Let's get them undeafened and let's get it popping.
The moment they release the hand cannons, it's actually just over.
Gentlemen, how is it going?
Hello.
Yes, Kami did actually just get partnered. Let's get some congrats for him real quick. So the way we kick this off, obviously, Kami, you are a return guest. Introduce yourself. What do you like? What's got you jazzed? Things like that.
So hello, I'm Kami. Some people call me Justin. I prefer if they just called me Kami, but it is what it is. Played Destiny. I've been playing Destiny 2 since launch. Game's alright. Stasis, it's definitely changed my opinion a bit. And, Palindrome's pretty cool. Just waiting for the 140 buff and, we'll be good.
Ooh, 40 buff. That'll be fun. Alright, Dixies, who are you? What do you do? What do you enjoy?
My name's Dixies. I stream Trials Help on the weekends. I play Destiny and multiple games, but mainly Destiny. And also, like Kami said, games in kind of a weird state where gunplay feels nice besides 120 hand cannons. I feel like those need to be reworked, and also Stasis is kind of ruining PvP at the moment for me, but yeah.
True. Alright, we'll definitely get into those tonight. We'll definitely dive into the whole stasis and 140s and 120s and all that fun shit. Let's start off, for those of you that, or those of the viewers that have not attended, or for you Dixies as well, what is your main class and loadout type?
Kami, do you want to go first?
Sure. So, I've played basically every single class in the game at a high level. It does not make a difference to me. More recently, I've been sticking to Warlock, just mostly due to how strong Chaos Reach is. Like, it's absurdly strong. But once again, I'm not afraid of branching out to anything. Like, you put me on Hunter, I'll put in work. Put me on Titan, I'll put in even more work.
Mainly for me. Oh,
go ahead.
No,
No, I was gonna say I still remember right when Stasis came out, we had Kami on and he jumped on his behemoth, and holy shit, he just steamrolled through teams. Didn't you get 2 annihilations back to back in a single super?
Yeah, with the same super, and I don't know how that wasn't a sign for people to go, maybe Behemoth is worse than, the Warlock super.
Right. It was pretty bad.
And now people are just finally realizing.
Yeah, now it's finally adapting and adjusting to it. Alright, Dixies, who are you? What do you play? What's your main?
I started off this game on Titan, and then I actually went over to Hunter, and now I'm on Warlock right now because of Stasis. Doing carries on the weekend, I kind of need to be able to get out of all the freeze bullshit that happens in this game, so Icarus Dash definitely helps with that. It
True.
gets me an out all the time a lot. I also feel like I can't really run any other subclass because if I do get hit by a dust field grenade per se, I can't really jump out of that, or else I'll just get shurikened or hit by another ability in the game. So I got to be able to get out.
What do you mean? All Titans have to do is punch to get out.
Yeah. Not to mention they can
Warlocks
fly
can
across
make
the
yourself-
map right now.
Yeah, they're pretty zoomy. That. Let's roll into that actually. How are you guys feeling about? Obviously, I mean, you both play Trials. How are you feeling about it? Do you think it's still way overpowered? Do you think the tuning is better? Have you figured out ways to beat it?
Behemoth?
Anything, Stasis in general.
I mean, my best
I'll let you go, Dixie.
Yeah, my best my option right now is go to Top Tree Dawn, just like I said, because I can get out of. A lot of people are running Dustfield grenades more now because of. I don't know why, but they buffed the grenade.
It's the suck, man.
And the shuriken buff. I see a lot of hunters on the stasis subclass because of how the kit in that class is just insane to me.
Right.
2 shurikens. I don't feel like they need to have 2 shurikens, especially if they're gonna buff the shurikens that do 90 damage and track like sentinel shields.
True.
And also they get a grenade that will pull you towards the grenade, freeze you, and also kill you now. Unless you have a way out, and the only way out is basically to Titan Punch out of that. Only in Stasis, the Behemoth subclass, or Icarus Dash out.
Mm-hmm.
So I've just been on Top Tree Dawn.
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah.
Kami, have you figured out ways to counter it now that we've had it for a full season? Besides use Stasis and
I think Chaos Reach has made things better, but also made things worse at the same time. And we're kind of in a state of, it's a lot of must picks where if you're not running this, you're at a disadvantage, or if you're not running, that, you're at a disadvantage type. And while there's always things that are meta, whether it's like Antaeus or something like ARs, like, what was it? I think, like, I don't remember the RPM, like 600 RPM ARs. You could still run other things and be fine. There were still ways around it. And you didn't feel like locked into like one loadout option, but with like Stasis especially, and Chaos Reach, you're just, that feeling of just stagnation is just even worse. A lot of people have said that the current meta of 120s is also really stagnant. And I don't think that's a good feeling at all.
Right.
Because
Especially
to beat Stasis, you have to run Stasis. If you have to, beat Reach, you have to run 100 Intellect Reach. And it just sucks because you have a lot of really interesting kits, and just more than half just aren't even going to get used.
Right. So, what do you guys think is more or less fun to play, the 600 meta or the 120 meta, in your opinion?
Honestly, the auto rifle meta was pain for me. That was I did not enjoy it at all. Mainly because it was a lot of like pre-firing spray and pray.
Mm-hmm.
And with the bullet magnetism in this game, you could shoot behind people behind walls, and I'd get shot behind walls a lot, I felt like. And it was just like curving bullets for me.
Curving bullets? Huh. I don't think I've ever heard it played like that. I know a lot of people went with the ricochet rounds just for the wall bounce annoyance,
Well, that too. Like Hardlight, when Hardlight was meta, it was.
Oh god.
I hated it.
Dude, it would kill you.
Getting
like
double
6
damaged.
Yeah,
just
and the
because,
double damage.
He just had to shoot a wall, and they made Anomaly like the second map of the week.
That was so bad. That was so bad.
Yeah, and also that too. Like you could get ricochet rounds on Summoner, and you could still just like shoot walls. I'd get killed by that sometimes as well. It wouldn't be often, but
Yeah, exactly.
people would have overflow. People would have overflow perk procced and just hold it down.
Dude, just spray.
Yeah.
They're like, I think there's someone in this lane. You're on the other side of the map already.
Yeah.
They're like, I think there's somebody over here. Maybe. But if there's not, I'm just going to lay into my entire clip and call it good.
Yeah.
Kami, what do you guys had? What do you think was the better meta? 600s or 120s?
So, well, 600s definitely frustrated me. It was a lot of ease of use and so on. I would still say there was a lot more gunplay, which has always been like the main focus for me. Right now, we might have a better meta when it comes to guns. While 120s are definitely annoying, you still get into gunfights, and when I get into a gunfight, it feels good for the most part. But when it came to just stasis and abilities and everything, people start gunfights by more or less throw a nade. Just throw ability. And so, while 600s were definitely really annoying, I would still say that's probably the worst meta. This meta isn't that much better because it's still primarily ability focused. You don't really get to use your gun as much as you should.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
this
most
stuff is
people just like
interesting.
leading with. A lot of times I'll find myself in a fight and people will just lead with a shuriken banked off the wall or a grenade, and I'll get slowed. And even like when you're slowed, your handling and stability just gets. It's terrible.
Yeah, I would say getting slowed is worse than getting frozen.
Yeah,
I don't know. When I get frozen, I kind of just put everything down, and I'm like, well, I'm here now.
yeah.
So what? Obviously, if you obviously we don't really have much say, but if you could walk into Bungie tomorrow and change one thing about stasis to make it balanced, what would it be?
Eliminate the freezing factor.
Okay.
I think slowing. I mean, slowing was like, in my perspective, technically already in the game with spectral blades, but that was only on one class, right?
Yep.
Now it's on all classes. And it's no matter what, like Warlock, Titan, Hunter, you're able to slow someone now. I think Hunters should have one shuriken. Dustfield grenade. I think it shouldn't suck you in towards the grenade.
You mean you don't like getting sucked?
No, it's awful. Because like, I mean, I'll be one shot, try to hide behind cover, gain my health back, but I just get grenaded, and you can't do anything about it unless you have, unless you're running a specific class, Behemoth Titan or Top Tree Downblade, and are possibly able to Icarus dash out of it, or punch out of it. And it's just, I feel like with stasis, there's a lot of limiting subclasses. Like, why would I run Nova Bomb or like Golden Gun on Hunter if I can't compete? I feel like I just can't compete. And you can to an extent, but I feel like you're just gonna get ability. Their kits are way better.
Well, let's be real though. All you have to do is bait the ability, and then you know that they can't play afterwards. So
yeah, well, sometimes yeah, sometimes like it's you can predict it to an extent, but some people you play against just don't
play normal.
do what you predict. So it's kind of hard.
Right. Kami, what you got? Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're good. You're good.
If I had to just one thing, it would probably just reevaluate how like slow works. I think freezing is pretty annoying, but I think the potency of like slow, because it's just gonna happen a lot more, especially with stasis hunters. You could just take something like Hunter Shurikens, look at, okay, why do they have two if they're doing that much damage? 90 damage per Shuriken, especially in trials. There were some people who I ran with, they were like 1260. If they got hit by two shurikens, they were just dead. They weren't frozen, They weren't slow, they were just dead,
Right,
and there was nothing they could do about it. And so I'd be questioning, okay, why are they doing so much damage, and why is this the easiest thing in the world to hit? Why do they have this much, aim assist / ricochet factor? I can throw two shurikens down a hallway, and there's a high chance I either get 1 or 2 kills. Maybe even a team wipe.
Well, that was after the buff. The buff made it ridiculous. The buff is
even before you could still throw like a dust field and just throw a shuriken. That's an instant kill.
True.
While they did definitely help, if you got frozen from like 80 meters away, they can't primary you for 90 damage flat. You won't completely get screwed over by like a scout or a pulse or like a 120. It's still very much a death sentence because you have the breaking out animation and so on, and that's you're still taking max damage from there. If someone really wants to wait, they can wait until you break out. You take like 50 damage just to break out. They shoot you like once or twice with like a 120. It's just a free kill.
Yep.
So they just need to really look at slow, especially when it comes to, I don't know if people know this, but if you ever get slowed by like a shuriken or something like Hunter's Stasis Tornado, on something like Arc Staff, you can't even dodge. You're basically just slow walking. Your super's just kind of out there in the open.
Mm-hmm.
To add on to that freezing, like far away too, if you get frozen with a glacier nade, like far away, all you have to do, if you're running like a sniper, you can just pull out your sniper and shoot the crystals. They're dead.
Yep.
Because of explosion, which is, I've done that multiple times, and I feel like it's very cheesy.
I'm finding that the Glacier isn't near as effective this season as it was last season, though.
It's not as bad, but it's not going to stop hunters from kind of doing the wombo combo of either flying in at you or, oh, he got a little too close to me. He tried to close the distance of his shotgun. I'm just gonna throw this nade and I just win the fight.
Right. Dixies, you feel the same?
Yeah, I still feel like the nerf to the fragment whisper or whatever it's called.
Yep.
I still don't feel like it was enough because you can still just kill a super with one glacier nade and shatter dive.
Yeah, you shouldn't be able to kill a super with that. I
With
feel
two
like with
buttons,
stasis, initially there was a lot of outplay potential, but it's just kind of, it's like Power Fantasy cranked up to the max.
Right. Space Magic go burr.
Yeah. I feel like if they are gonna keep two shurikens in the game too with hunters, I feel like one shuriken shouldn't free or slow you. Should just do the damage, and then if you do get hit by a second one, you'll get slowed.
Okay.
So like take out. I just want the
Interesting.
freezing to be
That's
taken out.
Because a lot of times I hear a lot of people say, take out the slow, let the freeze happen, but shorten the freeze timer. Like, in a guarantee breakout and say 2.5 seconds, you know?
So I feel like slow's enough though. In PvP, like when you're fighting somebody, you know, you having the thought of you could have done something, but you literally can't play the game because of the game. It's very frustrating.
Yeah, the common one that I hear is take out slow unless altogether take out slow, and then if you get frozen, it's a 2.5 second guarantee breakout, and it forces a little bit more movement play, and you kind of have to play it a little bit closer, and you're not freezing somebody across the map and then sniping them. Obviously, you think that would work?
I wouldn't be opposed to really anything. Just slow in its current state, freezing in its current state. It takes away from the gunplay aspect of Destiny, and it kind of gives me like similar vibes to what D1 Year 3 was, which was just very heavily ability dominant. If you had a sticky, you would just win the gunfight. It didn't matter if they got 2 primary shots, they can throw a sticky, and either win the fight or just trade. I think that's really ridiculous. That's all it takes.
Agreed. I definitely agree with you. I like to hear everybody's viewpoints on it, because everyone's got it a little bit different. You know, you guys have one, like Cool Cheese had a really big one, and it was the non-slow. But it's kind of cool to hear them all. So I got to dive back a little bit. Lycan asked a question. He says, you think of reworking shotguns to cap the range at 7 to 8 meters, but they can kill very effectively within that range, as well as replacing quick draw with appropriate perks on pellet-based precision and aggressive frames. So you couldn't get quick draw on precision or aggressive. You could only get it on lightweight or rapid fire.
See, I'm actually for
less oppressive.
I'm actually for, because they're slowly removing quick draw from special weapons as is right now. I feel like after this season, because they even removed, you can't even roll quick draw on Astral now anymore.
I saw that.
Because they changed the perks, and Fellwinners is getting sunset this season, or after this season.
I mean, you can still get quick draw on like Retrofurious and on
I think Retold.
Yeah, I think you can get it on a Retold as well. But that's a precision frame.
Yeah, they're not. I mean, Fellwinners maps people, and I feel like people more use that as a primary than anything.
True.
I see a lot of people just able to run in and pull that out really because it has quick draw in it, and just pull it out and just kill you.
Yep.
Same thing with like.
Though? I cannot get a kill with Fellwinners. I don't know what it is. I can't. I leave someone one every single time I use it. I actually switched off and went to CQC for that reason.
Yeah, sometimes I think my Felwinters is broken too. I just want to dismantle it, and I think it's despite being the most consistent shotgun, it's one of the worst feeling shotguns in the game.
Right.
The CQC I've heard I've never used or used the shotgun more than probably 2 games, so I don't know how the feel of it is, because
I personally like it.
That's what I've heard. Like I'll watch people use it and it looks good, and sometimes I'll even get mapped by it and when I'm playing, but
yep.
I don't think I'll ever swap off.
It gives you the lightweight buff too, the movement buff.
Yeah.
And on top of that, like, I've got one that's got quick draw Vorpal, so it's got kind of the same rolls as a Felwinters, and I can definitely put down most supers in shotgun melee. But now that there's obviously exotic hand cannons that are worthwhile, I'm actually diving a lot more into my Astral, so, which is a great thing to roll into. What do you guys think? Have you gotten Palindrome yet? Have you gotten the bottom dollar? How you feeling?
I have gotten the bottom dollar, not a pal yet though.
I got a Palindrome today, and I'm actually currently using it, and it's pretty good. It gives me Hawkmoon vibes, basically next to no recoil. I'm sure if I just plugged in the sticks for like a game or two, I'd get the same nostalgic feeling from like D1.
Right.
Just like how comfortable Palindrome felt.
I still need to farm
And I
one.
guess this is like a slightly different tangent, slightly separate from bottom dollar. I think bottom dollar, I think the Charles hand cannon will be great in terms of variety for 120s. But it goes into like 2 problems, right? And I'll just start with like problem 1 when it comes to Palindrome. Is that while it's an amazing feeling 140, because it's the 140, it's not really going to see much use. It's not really meta, and it's not the first time we've seen things like this happen. I mean, Thin Line came out back in like year 2 of Destiny, and it wasn't good until like year 4, because 110s, well 120s now, basically saw next to no changes for like the longest time.
Yep. But
it's kind of like, why introduce a new gun, or not necessarily new, but iconic gun? And then it's kind of like introducing something like Thorn, and then not having it be the best that can possibly be. Why would I go for a Palindrome outside of the possibility that they get buffed back to the lethality, or rather, the ease of use that they had back in D1?
Okay.
When I could just easily use like a 120.
Right.
And basically immediately see, more or less get like a return on, investing my time into like grinding a Nightfall, or, in this case Gambit, or getting lucky in Trials. So I definitely think 140's a buff, either 2 head 1 body or 1 head 2 body, just to keep up with 120s. If they want to stay with if they want to keep the same time to kill values and same ease of use that they have currently. And I guess second thing, when it comes to quick draw, and I guess the shotgun question, unless they either nerf quick draw, which I don't think would be very healthy for the game, removing quick draw just makes it so that people who do have it are at a bigger they're at a bigger advantage than people who just don't.
Okay.
And I don't think that's healthy for the game at all. I think quick draw speeds up the game a lot more, and while it does make shotgunning a lot easier, there's also a very, very big skill ceiling when it comes to just quick swap glitching or quick draw glitching. Just knowing when to have your shoddy out. Some people start out gunfights with, they have their primary out, then swap to their shoddy, or they start with their shoddy, then swap back to their primary. I think quick draw is a really, really good perk, and it'd be better if it was just intrinsic, kind of like Icarus and like so many other things. Which, if it was intrinsic, just by default already in the game, all guns had really good handling. Mm-hmm. You wouldn't be running into those must-have perks, because right now, we're just kind of chasing the same archetypes of guns, like 120s, 140s, whether it's, shotguns, snipers, it doesn't matter. you're still looking for rangefinder. You're still
Right.
looking for ricochet rounds. You're still looking for the same perks.
I don't know,
By
dude, Killing
just
Wind is such a nasty perk. That's
Killing
so
Wind is
underrated right
really
now.
nice. It kind of it falls into the same problem of why would I choose that over something like Quick Draw? Why would I choose something like that over Rampage? It's hard to get people addicted to new perks or even willing to try them if they're taking the same slot as already pre-existing, basically seen as god perks.
Got it. And that, well, do you think that God perks are designed by larger streamers that kind of push it harder? Partner Kami.
I
'Cause
would
how
say
often
it
do you
kind of
get
just
pushed
comes
in?
down to things like Quick Draw. I would say it's a no-brainer. Why wouldn't
Right.
you want your gun to feel better? Someone make an argument, I might like Killing Wind, or I might like Subsistence, or I might like Outlaw, or whatever.
Ugh.
And that's so good, but obviously, I would say things like God perks make a much higher difference at like a higher level, where you're competing against some of the best of the best, and those quality of life benefits that you will always notice, not those situational benefits. That's why sometimes I would even just opt for, Quick Draw Snapshot over something like Quick Draw Rampage.
True.
Because with Rampage, it's situational, I have to get a kill, and even if I get a kill, there might not be a second or third person there, where I can actually take advantage of it, or if I just, choke the shot, I kind of wasted it. But with something like Snapshot, I notice the benefits immediately. I'm always going to be benefiting from things like that. And I think a lot of that just comes from what people think feels good. But also, to add on to what you're saying, I definitely agree that, content creators, streamers, top players, I think it definitely does kind of push, like, a meta perk. I guess, perks are a meta. But I would still also say that people would kind of reach those conclusions on their own from just what feels good and what doesn't.
Right. Yeah,
Just from
definitely.
testing and everything.
True. I 100% agree. So I saw two things on Twitter today, and I definitely... Hold on, I need to remember the second one. But the first one was in regards to 140s to make them more competitive in this meta. Word's hard. It's been a hell of a day. The one that I saw was bump the damage perk on 140s to 75, a crit. Do you think that would balance it out a little bit more?
So you'd be two head, one body?
Correct. It'd be a 2 head, 1 body, so it'd be 75, 75, that's 150, plus a body, which could be, 40. And that still puts you at 190, right?
Well, you have to think about the resilience base. Because I think they need to nerf 120's damage to make it that, so it'd 2 head, 1 body. And then it'd be, it's already resilience based if you can get 2 tapped now, but you have to run a high resilience, right?
Right. And they've been trying to push high resilience for a while. The stasis breakout on ice was based off of your resilience.
Yeah, and then it comes to that factor and the factor of you'll see Titans now running Titans and have high resilience, and they'll get the most benefits because they can. I run into that all the time in trials.
Yep.
So they will always have a shield up, and they can shoot through it.
You mean like ZK and Frost and...
even those guys start running it now. Yeah, the Rito shield.
Exactly. That's what I always see. I always see the top guys running it, and then immediately after, it's like the entire environment's the same.
Yeah, I think 140s, personally, for me, should stay where they're at, and 120s need to be nerfed.
Okay.
Because I don't think a 140 should ever 2-tap.
True.
Unless you proc Rampage ×2.
Do you still feel that way with the new Scout that came out? I don't know if you've seen the damage perks on that.
Yeah, that's like a more you have to hit a crit. It's like Hawkmoon, but
right.
it'll chain. Hawkmoon, I don't really proc the perk much because it's the last bullet.
Right.
But you can 2-tap. Is that resilience based too, or is it a for sure 2-tap? I haven't really played with the weapon. I don't even have the weapon yet.
So it's a for sure. I've seen a couple people test it. I've seen one person. Oh man, who was it? Fuck, I don't remember now. But they had charge with light ×2, and their first shot was 90 to the head. The second shot was 110. And then DFP did it with weapons of light, and it was a 200 to the head immediate. for shot off. So I think even with resilience up, that's still insane.
I'd have to test it because I don't know the damage numbers on it yet.
Yeah, that's
I've only
just what I
seen
was
how
seeing.
it looks and how it shoots.
That's definitely what I was seeing. Kami, have you gotten it yet?
I've gotten it, and it's more or less. It kind of falls into the same category as like most scout rifles and guns like the Messenger, where they're really fun, they're really good, but because of map design, you don't really get much benefit from using them. A lot of the maps cater towards hand cannons, and with a 120 hand cannon that kind of covers all those ranges, all those sweet spots. There's not really much of a reason to see myself like ever running a scout, even if the gun's like insane.
What about people that are like not as skilled with hand cannons? Because I mean, there are. Do you think it was created as a more of a balance against hand cannons? Because a 2-tap from a scout from across the map is pretty.
I think
nuts.
the 2-tap is with the perk, but if someone's chaining headshots that much,
you'd be
then
better
yeah,
off using a
they
120.
deserve that kill. I'm not gonna take that away from them.
Right. I haven't been on
But
since
when
it
it
came
comes
out,
to,
so.
I guess when it comes to like scouts or like something like the Messenger of Desperado, is that just that player still probably isn't going to see that much benefit from running something like that compared to a 120. And I would say hand cannons are probably, I'm going to get flack for this, but they are probably one of the easiest, guns to use next to ARs, honestly. Using a scout is honestly harder than using, something like a hand cannon.
I agree with Kamiya
it's
on that
Destiny,
one,
but tracking of a messenger is harder than using a hand cannon.
Shit, that actually just made me remember what the other Twitter comment was. There's one floating around that's a copy pasta that says, remove recoil from primaries. I don't know if y'all seen it.
I'm not.
I don't remember who started it, but it's been floating around Twitter all morning. I was looking at it earlier, and it was like, the argument is recoil should be completely removed from primary weapons. Like 100% removed. What do you guys think?
I think
I was
it
about as
needs
speechless
it
as
needs
you
to
were.
stay in the game. I feel like if recoil got complete removed, I feel like ARs would make a comeback as well. Which I mean isn't necessarily a bad thing, but
I getting mapped by a 600 in 0.4 was not fun.
I mean it's all kind of based on what guns are meta. Because
right.
I mean I don't think if you're versus a 120 and an AR, depending on what range you're at, you're gonna and who you're playing. I mean,
yep.
I take the AR close range any day. I mean,
right.
If I'm facing a 120 up close, 120s up close are sometimes hard to hit shots in my opinion, but
true. I agree. But is that part of the actual like splitting of what's the point of having RPMs if everything does the same damage at that range,
I feel it's more of an annoyance to be continuously hit by an auto rifle up close and you trying to hit hand cannon shots.
Especially with rangefinder, yeah, I would just rather hip fire, just use a different gun.
Yeah.
In that range.
Right. And also, I want to make another comment on the new exotic scout rifle. Personally, after watching and seeing the gun, I would still pick Jade Rabbit over that.
Okay.
Because one, Jade Rabbit is a 150 still, and it's still 3 taps.
Right. From any range.
So, I mean, you're going to kill... By the time you even get 3 headshots on me, I can either 4-tap you or just 3-tap you in a matter of seconds. So, I don't know.
I'd like to see Jade get a little bit more love. I'm going to be honest.
I use it all the time. I think if it did, I think it's very well placed. I've used it, and it's actually a really good scout rifle still. You could use it on Altar of Flame. Like this weekend, I pulled it out for a card, and I mean, it was fine. I felt balanced.
Interesting. Do you think they may have shadow buffed scouts in general on prediction of this new exotic. Make it a little bit more, because I mean, Bungie has a habit of kind of over forcing meta and then pulling it back. Do you think they may have done something like that with this one?
I still think scouts feel the same. I didn't necessarily see a buff or anything. A shadow buff.
It'll be hard to ever see a scout meta until we
Yeah.
actually see maps that are more suited for it. Because on a map like Anomaly, are you going to see anyone using a scout? On a
Yeah.
map like Exodus, maybe
Right.
if the glitch spot still existed, that was the most scout usage I ever saw.
Yeah, no kidding.
But on most maps, they just don't cater to long-range gameplay. Or it's long-range up to a certain point, and even then, it's just kind of like with a 120, you're not going to need to go past 40 meters. That's why rangefinder, which is usually a must for most hand cannons, that extra 1.5 meters isn't really needed on something like a 120.
Right. I mean, I could see that. God, I just love to see maps. I'm gonna be honest. I don't even care if we get like that fucking moon map where you were able to drive sparrows around it. Like, I just want maps at this point.
Oh, I guarantee you'll see Jade Rabbit pulled out if that map came back.
Oh, facts. Are you
Even back
well,
then.
I think,
was-
I guess to
weird.
talk about maps a little bit.
Yeah, we'll definitely. dive
When
into
we
that
got
too.
those D1 maps for Trials of Osiris, initially I was hyped, but I quickly realized we even tried out in, threes and everything. We tried playing Exodus and tourneys. People hated it. A lot of people said, "Oh, it's because you guys haven't played it. It's because you guys haven't played it." Exodus comes around in Trials. It's really not that much better. And
Yep.
so we have maps that, were loved in D1. They come over to D2, and it's not the same. And I think it's mostly, a lot of people don't know this, but people really don't like playing Burnout when it comes to threes or scrims, and it's just because Burnout plays really awkwardly.
Agreed.
Especially with, things like Icarus Dash, things like, hunters being able to bounce their head against, like, a ceiling and move at the speed of, light.
Not to mention the luck of the spinning wheels. Like,
Yeah,
that'll win you a
can't
gunfight or
really
lose you a
mantle on
gunfight.
some things. It's just D2 is such a different game from D1 when it comes to movement alone, FOV, just the potential things that you can do. And it also doesn't help that the maps aren't scaled to D2 at all.
There it is. So I was waiting for that. We had Pantho, Leg, and Wyvern on here, right? And the conversation of maps came up. And I think Wyvern actually explained it the best that I've heard so far. What are your guys' thoughts on it? He said that the maps that were created in D1 were created for console FOV and FPS. When they were ported over to D2, the map size didn't change. So we feel like we're moving across the maps a lot faster, and they feel like they're a lot smaller because of that. Do you think that that's part of it, or do you think that it's just them changing little things on the
Yeah,
map that don't play as well?
that's the thing. So that's why people prefer something like Dead Cliffs or even Endless. Although I would say Endless it feels more like a D1 map. But say Dead Cliffs and Javelin feel a lot more appropriate because they were built from the ground up to be made for D2, and they also were built with, okay, we're adding Destiny to PC. Things like Burnout, things like Exodus, things like Anomaly, they weren't built with, okay, we're gonna have a PC version, we're gonna have an FOV slider and everything. It's just, I wouldn't say it's a lack of foresight, but it's more so, you would think in hindsight, when they saw Burnout, when they did testing, when they tried to port it through, played it and everything, they would have realized, that this kind of plays a little weird. This plays, a bit differently.
Right.
And had they actually scaled the map, things like Burnout, things like Exodus, things like Anomaly, they would be welcomed. And that's why, I see a lot of people go, oh, bring back Asylum, bring back Asylum. And I'm just kind of like, it's not going to be what you remember.
And that
Yeah, I
was
was
the
just about
that
to
was
say
what they
that.
said too. Yeah, they said that Asylum is not gonna play how it did on D1 because of the FOV change and stuff. And I mean, every system now has FOV change, So even
I
console
think-
is starting to experience it.
I still think if they did bring it back, it'd play fine on console due to movement.
Okay.
But
Explain.
If
Why?
it, I mean, because most of this game, if you have more FPS, you're already at a higher advantage. Even with like super, how far you can go in a super.
Yep.
I mean, it's because you're locked at 60 FPS on console, so everyone's on the same.
I thought that it could go up to 120 in Crucible.
Could it?
My understanding.
I don't really know.
I think it's locked at 60 in PvE, and it can go up to 120.
Yeah, it's locked
correct
at
me if I'm wrong.
60 in PvE, but in PvP it goes up to 120. I think on the Xbox Series, not the new one. I think it's the S.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
PvP is just locked at 60. It doesn't go up to 20 or 120.
That's
the
another-
Xbox Series X, like the actual next gen, goes up to 120. It's like weird.
And that's why I'm so.
It does hit 120. But I mean, everything's going to go towards that by the time we get into Witch Queen. I have a feeling they're not going to support. You know?
You talking about crossplay?
Yeah, it's gonna be a case
Yeah.
of D1 where they just cut off support eventually. But
Yeah.
at that point, even though they're really afraid of doing Destiny 3 and they want everything to, be in Destiny 2, kind of like how, it would have been better if everything was in Destiny 1, we'd be playing on hardware that was, like, let me look it up. When did the PlayStation 4 come out?
It was like 20.
Call of Duty Ghost time.
Yeah, it was like 2011,
So,
maybe 2009.
PlayStation 4 release. So, 2013, we'd be playing on hardware from 2013. Basically, a game built for the PlayStation 4. Like, even though the engine's gone through
Yikes.
plenty of revisions, changes, like, it doesn't matter. You would run to the same problem as D1. D1 could only go so far because the game was it was built for the PS3, Xbox, 360.
Right.
Even if they drop support, that doesn't change. So while the PC version, we're still gonna be fine, Yeah, sure, our graphics might not be, at the same level something like Cyberpunk or whatever. I don't really care for graphics. I've always cared more about frames.
Right.
Overall, just the potential that what Bungie can do is limited just by that, engine or hardware restriction.
True. And I mean, they upgraded the hardware or the engine by moving over to the physics. I don't know if y'all noticed, but this season, if you look at your constant frame rates, they're up by like 30 frames versus last season. Have you noticed that?
A little bit. I mean, I average like 180 to 200 either way.
Yep.
I didn't really, when people were talking about the frame drop, I didn't really notice it. I was still on the same averages I usually do.
I mean, I was holding almost 220 constant before the new engine, and I fell down to like 170. So I saw a pretty big dip, and I think I'm back up to like 190, 200 now.
Just with more stuff that they add to the game, it's just going to bog it down more. I could say that with like a 1080, not even a 1080 Ti, when Destiny 2 like first came out, I probably had like on par frames just simply because there wasn't as much stuff. Meanwhile, I have like a 3080, I have a Ryzen 5900X, and in sixes, I barely average above like 180. It dips from like 160 to 180, just constantly.
Yep.
Now include streaming into the mix, and it's really fun watching my frames go down to like 140.
Serrano made a really good point. She said lighting engine change dropped a giant brick into the clockwork of frames. So when they added the lighting engine to light up the environments more, obviously that's more of a strain on your GPU. So I'm wondering if that's they maybe tuned that back a little bit. I haven't really noticed. I'm just glad that it's fixed a little bit,
Yeah.
Swifty asked, with the current sandbox, if stasis was completely removed, what do you think PvP would be like?
Probably the best gun meta we've had in a while.
Do you even feel that?
It wouldn't be Forsaken, but it would be up there definitely.
See, I actually didn't play Forsaken as much as I would have liked to. So I can't really give a good statement on the Forsaken meta, but all I know is a lot of people loved it. And
Yeah, see, I
I mean,
played
I'll watch
Forsaken on
gameplay back
console.
during that time, and it looked pretty fun.
It was fun. I played it on console back then. I just I say recently. I just came to PC probably 6 months ago, and I can't go back. But
Yeah. Yeah, no, I've gone back to PS4 to do a recove, and it was not fun.
Same. It was pain. It was absolute pain. Like head pains, and
Yeah.
I felt like I was moving through molasses. And
Yep.
Actually, I don't think I've asked this. When did you guys get into Destiny, and what brought you to this franchise?
For me, I actually had the game. I played D1 as soon as it came out, beta as well. Played it a bit, didn't really get into it. I feel like mostly because I didn't have anyone to play with. But so I used to play. I was really into Call of Duty back then when D1 came out and stuff. So I mostly just played COD when the game came out. So like I missed House of Wolves and all that and Crota. And then
Gotcha.
ended taking King. I picked it back up because it looked interesting. So I picked it back up. Started watching streamers play it, and I actually used to be really bad at this game. Like I was the 0.5 asking for Trials help back then.
Right.
And yeah, I just started watching streamers and found a streamer. He got me more into the game, just like anyone else would, if like a content creator.
Right.
And then yeah, I just started streaming from then too. I mean, I picked up the game, wanted to get good at it,
Okay.
and just grinded from Taken King.
You missed the dark time. Dude, the House of Wolves era was pain, man.
That's what I've heard.
I've been in this since the alpha test. I have the first look alpha on my PlayStation, and that shit, just like I've played all the way through. It is House of Wolves was still probably the worst expansion I've ever been through.
Really?
Yeah. Kami, when'd you pick it up?
So I've played the game since next to launch. I didn't play in the beta. I remember, what was it? I think it was like the summer of 2014. I was just like watching Twitch, everything. I was like looking to take a break from a game that I was playing at the time, which was Team Fortress 2. Really nice PC game. Just wish Valve did more of it. And I think it was like Professor Broman who was streaming the beta, and the game looked really similar to Borderlands. I really loved Borderlands. I was like, wow, this game actually looks pretty cool, pretty, good, and everything. And I was wondering, okay, so is this coming out on PC? Is this coming out on PC? And I was just instantly disappointed, but I was like, I still have a PS4, I guess I can play it, see, how good it is. And, at launch, I'll admit, I had next to no idea what I was doing. I completed the story, had no idea where to go from there.
Right.
And it was just a really shitty feeling because, I see a bunch of people going, yeah, I hit level 25. I'm like, how do I even hit, like, level 25? Like, what do I do? I'm just doing strikes. I'm not seeing any progression. How do I get legendary items and stuff like that? And it wasn't until Dark Below, and I guess when I actually bought myself, like, a headset mic, finally did VOG. It was, like, the week before Dark Below, actually.
Okay.
I just did VOG, one of my friends, who also had, like, a PS4, basically, carried me, he bit the bullet and everything. And it was a really fun experience, and, while he quit, I still decided to keep playing. And I've been playing ever since. So I've played all the way, I would say, Dark Below to Age of Triumph and D1 Year 3. I just didn't quit until they removed Special. That was when I was just kind of like, okay, I don't know if I sign off on this. I'll just wait until Destiny 2, I guess.
Right.
And Destiny 2 came, and honestly, if Overwatch was not in the state it was, I'm not sure if I would have played it as long as I did.
I feel that.
I'm actually on the same boat as you, Kami, because I was also playing Overwatch and when D2 came out. and then it
You
was
know, more was about to come out, and
yeah.
just I was like, might as well bite the bullet. You know, can't be worse than this. And you know, I really enjoyed the double primary meta. Surprisingly, at least on PC.
Interesting. Because I've heard a lot of people say they hated the double primary meta.
The biggest issue with it was just the time to kill.
So
Yeah.
the mini multi combo was all you saw.
On console, for sure. On PC, you had a lot more variety. You saw people using hand cannons, SMGs. You saw, you know, whether it was
Right.
like Uriel's gift or like anything, it didn't really matter.
Dude, I remember the Uriel's
People
gift
used
run.
everything.
That shit was nuts. Ramsey asks, how are you two such fucking goats?
Nope, that is you.
Nope.
Ramsey is a very talented player, very talented streamer.
I
You guys
fucking love
seriously need
Ramsey.
to watch him.
He's one of my
If
favorite
you guys
people.
haven't already.
Yeah.
I love that man.
He's a very
Ram's the
genuine
homie.
dude.
We've had him on here once or twice now, and I fucking love that guy. He's so wholesome.
Yeah, no, I've gotten to know him more. I've actually been playing with him a lot on the weekends, and it's all fun all the time.
Mm-hmm. Very wholesome, very funny.
Yep.
All right, so let's take a tangent a little bit off Destiny real quick. Well, I mean, kind of. Obviously, you know, you guys got your inspiration for streaming. Who was your inspiration starting out, and who do you kind of try and model yourselves after, if anyone, or do you try and completely original across the board?
I don't really model myself after anyone, I would say, but person who did get me into streaming, a longtime friend. It was back in D1. His name was Michael, or RSL is what he went by. He doesn't stream anymore. He's off to bigger and better things, but he wasn't even a big streamer either. I just a really nice, genuine guy, and he was streaming, got me into it, so I just kept doing it from there on.
Okay. Do you look up to anybody now that kind of boosts you that way, or?
I mean, I have people who, push me and everything. I wouldn't say. It's kind of just like a routine for me now. It's like part of my daily
Okay.
schedule. I make it my daily schedule because I like to do it. I mean, it's fun.
Right.
I like to, But I guess you could put Crafty in there as well. Real Crafty, when he played
Okay.
Destiny. I mean, I still watch him now as is. I think he's funny and a great streamer, but
I feel that. Kami, what got you your start? Who do you admire and who do you look up to?
So, I guess my answers changed like very drastically from like D1 to D2. But back in D1, so I would say it was like average up until like year 3 where I became like decent above average. I really envied people who played in sweats, and because I came from PC, it was like really awkward for me to get used to something like PlayStation voice chat or not being able, like, it was just very very complicated, and it felt like I was I time traveled
Right.
back to the Stone Age, and I was just clueless. I was so afraid to make friends that like I just LFG'd my entire way through like the game, really. But when I did watch sweats, people like Ambu especially, I just love this energy, all the way from like year 1 to year 3. Pashi, people like Gabe and War, Walla in year 3, Sir D in year 3, Body. It's just a lot of the D1 sweat players who, might either no longer play Destiny or done with the franchise. I really
Right.
looked up to them because this was the pinnacle of skill. I really enjoyed watching their streams and everything. It was fun watching Gabe, skate across the map. And I would say that this is my personal opinion, but in D1, at least compared to D2, I felt like there was such a larger skill gap and skill ceiling where I could tell, okay, that guy was just out of this, like, completely better than me. Compared to D2, where I feel like, everybody was within reach. Even back when I played, in tourneys, there was still a decent gap between, the top 3 teams, but everybody felt beatable. Meanwhile, if I played in a tourney in D1, it felt like unless I'm playing, on point and my teammates are playing on point, we just aren't beating this dude. I'd be happy to take even like, a game off them.
That's because you're nuts now, man. That's why.
Not really,
insane,
but I
bro.
guess
Both
when
of
it
you
comes
are.
to D2, I don't necessarily have like an inspiration or anything that particularly got me into streaming. A lot of my friends pushed me to stream, just be consistent, and believed in me when I just couldn't believe in myself. I don't really have like anyone to like name, like I guess like Onyx and Potato, obviously, Boy,
Okay.
Red, just really everybody in my friend circle.
That was
They've
wholesome
just
as
been
fuck,
really
by the way.
supportive, and just that literally inspired me more than like any individual player ever could.
That was wholesome as fuck. That's I'm still just grinning at the fact that you got a partner, because I remember sitting in your stream like a week ago and I was telling Dixies about this offline, where you were thinking you weren't gonna get it and you were like super down about it, and a week later you get that check mark, and dude, like
I honestly, I'm genuinely still surprised from it.
I'm stoked for you, and I want to see Dixies get it too, because both of you guys are not only insane players, but you're fun to watch. You really are. Um, and for those of you that are viewers, like if you guys haven't watched these two individuals, I recommend it. Holy, like the next time, make sure to go follow, turn that notification on, and the next time they go live, go watch them. They're insane. They're active with chat. Like, it's worth it. I promise.
Yeah, Dixies has especially come a really, really, really far way. I did not meet him until basically last year. I think it was like playing with Fusters, and I think I met him around the same time as I met like not Nerve and Act, but basically that entire friend group. And Dixies is a really genuine dude, really cool guy. Got some banger tweets, to say the very least.
Uh,
Um, he's just a really good dude, really good player. And if you guys just ever want someone to watch, if I'm ever offline, even if I'm online, just watch him. Does trials, does everything. Used to play Face It before, just kind of plummeted.
Appreciate it, Kami.
I
That's the
hope you're
least I can
blushing
do.
right now, Dixie. I really do. He just giggles. Kami had a pee race with me, so I can vouch for the interactive. Okay, okay. I don't know what that means, but probably not gonna dive into it. um, fuck. I lost my entire train of thought reading that, Chubby. Thank you.
I think we were talking about like inspirations and everything.
Right. Thank you for reeling it back in. Um, so where do you guys see yourselves going? I mean, Destiny's 7 years in. Do you think that this is going to be your hell or high water, or are you looking for something a little more engaging?
I mean, I'm. It comes to the point of like where I'm kind of comfortable playing Destiny right now. I still enjoy the game, so I'm gonna keep playing it. The thing that makes it enjoyable for me right now is playing with chat and helping others. The times I can't count the amount of times that I've had just genuine excited reactions when people still till this day go flawless. Just puts a smile on my face, and knowing I can help somebody out, try to make their day or something.
Okay.
Makes me. It feels good. I've been playing other games too. I mean, my goal right now, push Destiny as much as I can. Gotta start somewhere
Right.
if you're gonna push for other stuff. But that's mainly
Okay.
I mean, I don't really have any other games right now that I want to grind really. So I've just been kind of, if I'm not playing Destiny on stream, then I'm either with friends or family. Really.
Right.
I mean, I recently just did pick up Cold War though, and playing that, it's been fun. But yeah, I'm just gonna keep streaming Destiny. I mean, weekdays are kind of hard for Destiny right now because I'm a PvP player and content,
Right.
and I mean, there's not really content for that. But
That's true. I mean, there is though. There's gilded titles now for Unbroken, stuff like that. Kami, what are you feeling about it? And then keep it rolling.
I mean, if you asked me this a week ago, it'd pretty much just run Destiny until, I guess partner, but I guess since that somehow happened, um, answer, I kind of have to think about it differently, but
Surprise, I'm a Valstro now.
I mean, it's good to have more flexibility when it comes to playing games. I still want to respect, the community that got me here.
Sure.
So I'm not going to drop Destiny 2 like anytime soon. I might not play it like every single stream, but
Yeah, you gotta play what you enjoy, though. I mean, Dixie's made a great point. Like, that's the same reason I'm playing it. But
pretty much. So I'll probably try Apex again. I'll actually really want to get back into it. I really want them to release like a TDM game mode because that's the biggest thing holding me back from just full sending, just maining Apex.
right,
Because it's still a BR, and I've just always hated the randomness of BRs.
dude, I
It
hate
didn't matter if it
BRs.
was like
That's how I am,
PUBG,
too.
H1, I don't know. No matter how good those games were, it was just always something that bothered me.
How you feeling about something like Halo when it comes out in the fall? You guys looking towards it?
I'll definitely play it. Just when it comes to things like tourneys and stuff like that, I feel like you're still gonna be limited if you're not running a controller. You're probably gonna be at a disadvantage. I don't know how much they're going to tune M&K versus controller, but seeing Master Chief Collection where
I
if
mean,
you weren't
right.
running controller, it was just kind of like, why were you playing?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it wasn't optimized for M&K at all.
I mean, even to this day now, Cold War, you can't, like, there's controller limited for, like, tournaments and stuff.
Yeah, so I don't think that's really going to change. Just competitively, I don't really, not looking for that much. I'm looking for like that PvP itch. I'm sure I can play Val. I'm sure I can play Apex, and I'll be fine.
Right.
It's not about like trying to go pro. It's just about trying to have fun at this point. So,
Yeah, I mean, enjoying the game is top for everything,
So when it comes to single player games, gotta try Outriders. Demo's coming out in a week.
Okay.
I am
Looking forward to
excited for
playing that on
Valorant.
stream.
It looks good.
Trying to think, is there really anything else? I mean, I'm probably just gonna continue playing like GTA from time to time. Like, maybe the Minecraft update when that comes out, and that's looking very fun.
You gonna turn on that RTX and get it at the insane graphics?
Yeah. I'll actually watch my PC fry at the same time too. It's actually going to be boiling an egg.
Dude,
If I even try that.
I have a 3080 and I was waiting to see like in those. I've seen videos on it and it's just insane.
It just looks visually insane, but I also know at the same time I'm just gonna actually have like a heater in my room at that point.
You should start it now. That way in the middle of winter you're toasty. You don't have to turn the
I
heater
mean,
on
I might
in the
be able to
house.
do something for all the snow we have outside.
Bro, that's what I'm saying. Just turn it on now and the area around your house in like a 20-foot range will just be a puddle. Going back to the trials carries, Dixie, because you said that you're really enjoying it. I have a pretty cool story that my minor flex for the night. I got to carry somebody this weekend that was completely mute and survived 2 rounds of leukemia. So she couldn't talk. She couldn't, her reaction times were obviously slowed, and she was super down on herself. And we ended up getting her flawless for the first time ever. Ever. And it was probably the most wholesome experience I've ever had. So it was like those little things right there is what drove me to be a streamer and what kind of reminded me how special it is to be with communities, And you kind of reminded me of that.
Yeah. Then, yeah, like those once in a blue moon opportunities you get. I mean, they're great memories to have.
Oh, I'm never gonna forget it. The craziest part is I got currented twice and I had a flawed card. Right? So I was like, we were on game 6 and I had a flawed card and I was like, fuck. All right, we're gonna run it out anyway. Let's go. In our game 7 we matched. Holy shit, I'm blanking. We matched Eclipse, Nita, and Nuff. All 3 insane players, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they steamrolled us. And I sent a message over to Nuff and I was like, hey dude, this is a special carry, and they backed out at 0-4 for her first ever flawless.
That's
And they
really
just
nice of them.
yeah,
Yeah.
dude, it was nuts. And that
Like Nuff and Eclipse, and like they're all really good people, really good players as well.
they steamrolled us, dude. Like I sniped Eclipse I think twice, and I was stoked, just because I know how good they are. And for them to back out at 0-4, it was like the most wholesome experience, because they probably would have had a flawed card too, if I had mine in
Yeah.
current, and it was like they
Right.
still had theirs, so they got me and Peace got to, or Peace and Serana in chat got to go to the lighthouse and like hug in front of the chest.
Yeah.
And that's something I'm never going to forget. It really isn't. Kami,
Yeah,
your last stream is nuts. It's so like.
Yeah, my ISP during a power outage and winter storm, it is something else.
I forgot about that because I was sitting in this stream. I forgot that you were just super skippy.
Yeah, it would be normal 1 second, and then like, next second it's just, just like that. It's
Dude,
actually
instant froze.
watching a PowerPoint slideshow. Slide 1, slide 2, like.
I don't know if that's worst. I went through, I don't know what even was the problem, but my stream would always crash around 2 hours, so I'd be streaming for 2 hours, it'd go down, and then I have to start it back up. No internet, like the internet didn't go down, it was just my stream crashing. It fixed itself like a month later, but I tried everything, nothing worked. I'd call my ISP and they saw nothing. They even had people come out here and like try to fix it. Eventually I thought it was my router. I mean, but then it like stopped crashing at 2 hours again, so I don't know.
Weird. What a trippy,
Yeah, no, it's
like
really weird
situation. That's nuts.
And then I mean, my friend, another streamer, Lanza, if you know who that is, but he told me it was my OBS, and so I swapped over to. I use Streamlabs, and he told me to swap over to OBS, and it still would crash at 2 hours. So I never knew what the problem was.
It almost sounds like you're being throttled at the 2 hour mark. They're like, you're pushing too much outbound. Cut him.
I will never know.
Do you guys have one of those experiences? I'd love to hear it. I want to hear some wholesome trials, Carrie. Do you have one, obviously, from D1 and D2? What's one that stood out to you that's like that one,
I'd have to think.
Whenever I get a 20-minute card, that is always memorable.
But is it 20-minute card
Just,
stacked or a 20-minute card on a recode? Or carry?
Carry. That was actually, so I had a carry not too long ago. It was before Beyond Light. We actually got a 20-minute card, I think, on Javelin. And it was just a mix of like people either backing out like after we get like a couple rounds on them, or just straight 5-0s.
Okay.
And it was exhilarating because that was like the fastest cards have ever been since, launch. Where you could push out like a 25-minute card, no cheaters, like no sus behavior, like things were fine. And I guess besides that, then the nicest carry I've ever had was a married couple, actually. And they both had never been flawless, not even in D1. It was both their first time.
That's fucking dope, dude. Actually, like, the only way that story would have been cooler if it was like, this is our wedding, like, honeymoon gift.
I mean, I respect it. If they want to spend a honeymoon on Destiny 2, be my guest. I respect it.
I mean, if that's what they bonded over, maybe. I mean, I have a couple friends.
Yeah, there's a lot of
D2.
people who've like met their partner through like Destiny, or like Bungie games and stuff like that.
Yeah, my friend Fishy, Shut Up Fish, and his girlfriend both met on Destiny, and now they're living together. So I see it. I really do. It's wholesome as fuck. Dixies, what you got? We gave you time to think about it. What's your most wholesome trials carry moment?
I mean, I'd say I had one person. I mean, they've never gone flawless, and I mean, as soon as they won the raffle, they just would nonstop talk about how cool it is to be playing with me and the person I was playing with at the time. So I mean, they were just so nice, and I guess the whole card went smooth as well. I mean, we didn't. This was back in D1, like end of year 3, but yeah, no, they
Hey, man,
never
for
been
that to
flawless. So.
For that to stick with you since D1, obviously it was pretty memorable.
Yeah,
That's worth holding on to. This is kind of reminders, like when you guys think about quitting streaming, or you're feeling like you're not, making the progress that you want, stuff like that, that you got to look back on.
I guess that's what keeps me going too, and like gets me through the weekends.
Sure. I mean, I respect it. I really do.
I mean, those people, I mean, it really does make a difference on your mindset of the whole, what you're actually doing. You're not just, playing a game, you're, making somebody's day as well.
Absolutely. Shit, for some cases, dude, I've talked to quite a few people that have like been flawless once at the beginning of the like when Trials came back, or flawless in Trials of the 9 with a carry, and haven't been since. And to them, like, for you it's your 10th card of the weekend, right? But to them, they haven't been flawless in seasons, years,
right?
And that to me is way better than anything else.
Yeah, another thing that sticks with you is like people will get so excited and they want to take a picture with you at the lighthouse, and
Yep.
I just smile at it because I mean it's because I used to be that person
right?
back in D1. Because I mean I remember having my little setup. I mean, it wasn't nothing too crazy. I was just playing on a TV tray in my living room with my PS4.
That's fucking awesome.
On a TV, and I was just, sitting raffles.
Dude, that's amazing, actually. Because I didn't get into the streaming stuff until probably Forsaken, like maybe a little bit earlier. So I didn't watch any streamers. I was just a dog shit 0.8 KD back in D1. And I never watched any streamers, and I did any raffles. Like, I went into cards and got absolutely donked on with my other PvE friends. And then I started actually like diving into it now in PvP or in D2, and I was like, oh shit, this is fun. I enjoy this.
Yeah.
But chat, we are at 1 hour and 16. If you guys have any questions, feel free to type. We'll give you a couple minutes to open up your thoughts for these two. Otherwise, we're going to open up into the practical portion. I don't want to keep them too long. That way, chat can ask some questions too. Chat's been kind of quiet tonight. They've been debating about shotguns and.
Yeah, no,
I guess to kind of put like a nail in the coffin when it comes to shotguns, is that once Fellwinters gets sunset, I think people will realize just how bad shotguns are right now. Because I don't know if people remember, but I think it was like basically last year, whenever Trials dropped, shotguns did receive a nerf. When it came to like consistency, it was like something along the lines of, ADSing no longer has like a benefit. You can hip fire and you basically have like the same like distance. Right now, I just hip fire, or not hip fire, but ADS out of just muscle memory. I've been doing that since D1. If you had shot package on your shotgun, you have to ADS. Otherwise, you're just kind of wasting it. Even if you don't have shot package, it's still better to scope in.
Right. I do not have it too, especially with the CQC.
So we did have that shoddy nerf for like a little bit. My mind benders went from maybe 9.5 to 10 meters of slide shot. Decide to work, to all the way down to 8. 8 on a good day, and 9 if I'm feeling really lucky. I hit the lottery. And it wasn't until Fellwinters came out that mold was actually broken, and people start to see, oh, my shotgun's mapping. Things are a lot more consistent. But once Fellwinters is gone, you're not gonna see that. You're gonna realize a lot of shotguns can't roll quick draw opening shot. We're gonna be using things like Retold, and be using things like Xenoclass, and we're gonna realize, oh wow, maybe shotguns weren't as problematic as, I once thought, and it's mostly just Felwinters, because when do you see people use something that isn't really Felwinters, especially with the kiosk? And it's just kind of like you really don't. You might see like Astral, you might see like a CU, like CQC, from time to time, but for the most part, it's very stagnant.
Do
You
you
know,
think that Felwinters is still going to be do you think that it's going to be gone now, or do you think it's still going to be pretty dominant in like a quick play type setting?
I think it's still gonna be the go-to for like quick play or comp or just sweats because there's no point in using any other shotgun. Unless they come out with like a Matador 64, for the kinetic slot, I compare like my palindrome with it, something like that. That'd be really nice.
Right.
I would actually love that. Or they just start
Yeah.
introducing shot package shotties. Unless they release like another perk combination of something like shot package, quick draw, opening shot, and an aggressive impact. There's just no point in running any other shotty.
Right.
I would like to see some kinetic shotguns come out that are actually, usable. I mean, Astral's out right now.
Hawthorne still to this day, I get shit on every once in a while, and I'm like, what just happened?
No, Hawthorns to me just doesn't feel good. In my
Dustrock
opinion.
Blues. I mean, we had Dustrock for a while,
Yeah, but you
Dust
can't
Rock
really
was
use it.
really good, especially back during Forsaken.
Yeah.
Yep.
Honestly,
Dustrock was
I'm not
nuts.
even opposed to the fact that Astral doesn't have quick draw.
Yeah, me
I
either.
think back then this was more so of a Forsaken thing. But you had a trade-off. You could choose Not Forgotten, which, was incredible primary, just, best in class, just absolutely phenomenal. But you would have to use like kinetic, shoddy.
Mm-hmm.
That was still really good. Or you could choose something like Ace or Thorn, or, there were some people like Walla who ran Last Word Shotgun. You could run any of those combinations, put on like a Retold or Mindbenders, and while you have Quick Draw, you don't have necessarily the strongest primary in the game.
Right.
And so I really like that trade-off, and I wouldn't be against seeing something like that come back. The only problem is that because Astral exists, and if you have like an older Astral with Quick Draw, you're always going to be at that advantage.
Yep.
Now, does that mean they nerf Quick Draw and, look at... I don't think so. I don't think we should be nerfing perks, to boost other ones up. I think we should just, buff other ones up to make them, valid options compared to, like, Quick Draw or, say, Snapshot.
Right. Interesting. That's an interesting thought, actually.
They even nerfed Quick Draw back in D1. I think it was, like, D1 Year 1 and then again in D1 Year 3. And Quick Draw was still favored over a lot of perks. Just running Arc Strider. Why would I run, what was it? I think it was Fleet Footed or Knee Pads?
Yep.
I could just run Quick Draw.
All right, so we got 3 questions in chat. Swift says, any advice for tiny streamers wanting to get into doing carries, or advice finding other PvP players to play with? How did you get your foothold?
Dixie probably has like a lot more experience than what I do when it comes to like trials and stuff, like carries and everything. So
yeah, I mean, I kind of just got lucky. I've known Foster's great player for a while now. Me and him started out when like Charles wasn't even in the game anymore. It was just only PvP content was like comp carries. So me and him would just grind out comp carries, and then that's how I kind of started my following, I guess. And then I'd match streamers, and I guess it's just I don't really ask anyone to play. I mean, I kind of just play with my friends or people I know with. Another player I play with his name is Exploding Muffins now, and he helps me a lot on the weekends as well. And like, I don't know if you do know about the whole Who Dares org that happened, but that really boosted of people who I played with, and I met a lot of people through that.
Yep.
But yeah.
Yeah, I'm familiar with Who Dares.
Yeah, and then that's how
previous
yeah. Unfortunately, stuff happened, but
right.
But I mean,
you had no control over that.
Yeah, what can you do?
That was some shit. Kami, you have nothing to add on that one?
I mean, I guess I didn't stream so I did stream on and off for like a pretty long time. I played a bunch of games back when Twitch was just called Justin.tv. Like it, I've been around for like a while, but I didn't actually start consistently streaming until the summer of last year. And even then, I still took a break once school started coming around because I just had to choose, streaming or school, streaming or school. And I could have done both, but just at the time, it just seemed like the smart decision to just
Right.
prioritize school. But I guess similar to Dixie, I did get really lucky. Not even with just with clans boosting up. I have a lot of good things to say about like Triple, Benny, Red Boy, like just everybody in IM. But not only that, just before that, really, I've just made a lot of, I guess, connections with people just from playing for such a long time, whether it's like Rebukin from Masenko, or I'm trying to think, there's just so many people. Divine Marksman, basically used to be my old clan leader, Bronzy, back when he played Destiny. I've just met so many people over the years, and that just goes a really long way in actually networking, meeting new players and so on. And so the biggest thing that I can say to like any new streamer, anyone who's tiny, just starting out, don't be afraid to, reach out to people, say, hey, I want to play with you. Find people and, similar situations. You don't have to, go up. There's no shame in just, it doesn't matter if you have like 10 viewers. If you see a dude with like 1, 2 viewers, even no viewers, he'd still be down to play. Like, nobody's gonna think less of you for that or like anything. It's a journey together. It's not something that you do solo, and I feel like that's a lot of people they get that misconception that, okay, when it comes to streaming, I can only help myself, or, I don't want to be seen as like, a clout chaser or like a writer or anything like that. When if someone wants to play, they're down to play. They're not gonna take it offensively, and people can always say no.
I would literally game.
And so
for
it's
a
just
bucket of
you
chicken
can't be afraid to shoot your shot sometimes. That's really it.
And if people do say no, don't get I see a lot of people asking, like, people say no. Don't get discouraged by it,
Don't
or
get
like take it personal. Don't take it. A lot of people take it personally, but I mean, some people, just want to do their thing and play with, who they're comfortable with, and that's okay. I mean, another thing too like that is join community like Discords. I know, like, T-Shell has them, and people are always looking to play. Garrison has a community Discord. People are always looking to play in there. So,
yep, I agree.
You can LG with some people, and you can legit become lifelong friends just unexpectedly.
Yeah, I mean, I 100% feel like that. So, to give you an idea, I send out a shit ton of invites to this podcast, and I get egoed a lot. Like, a lot. I get egoed, and I still keep shooting. That's kind of the base of growth is shoot it. I mean, I never thought that I'd get Kamiya and Dixies on here. I never thought that I'd get Red or Rezo or, Ramsey or any of the guests that I've had, honestly. I keep shooting that shot, and that's kind of how it plays out. We had one more question from Serana, the one that I carried last weekend, actually. And I say carried, she held her own and actually clutched a couple rounds, which was huge. She says, my question is rather simple. Is there any way to ease into threes? I feel like I've reached all I could in control, and the thought of carrying another team as a solo is equal to a nightmare. I want to find some friends from other category, a way to learn to have fun again.
So threes I guess the same advice applies. I remember back when scrims were fours, and basically, threes were the go-to. I was really bad at threes, like really bad. I went from being, someone who was, pretty decent at fours, someone would consider top player, I thought, average at best, stuff like that. And I go into threes, I'm just getting absolutely destroyed, I'm playing against people who have been playing threes since D1, who know what they're doing. Know maps, like, a lot better than what I do, know how to hold lanes, and just have, like, years and years of synergy. And what helped me was just playing with people that, I'm friends with, just playing for fun. Just you have to be willing to, whether it's like the elimination playlist or it's just like friendly pickups, you have to kind of, get your feet wet, first, and it's okay to, it's okay to bottom frag. It's okay to be that person because you're learning. Now, look at what other players are doing. Watch streamers. If you see someone, whether it's like me, Dixie, Bobby, like, it doesn't matter. If we're doing threes, look at what we're doing. Ask yourself, okay, why are we doing, X, Y, Z? And, if it makes sense, if it's a good play, then alright, then you understand why it's a good play. But also look at the mistakes that we make and go, okay, where could we have done better here?
Always improve. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
I mean, pretty much same applies to what Kami said. I mean, I still, to this day, I'll hop into threes and like scrim and I'll bottom frag as well. I mean, I don't, yeah, it's kind of like a bad feeling that, you're on the bottom of the leaderboard. Like, you don't want to be on the bottom. But I mean, you being on the bottom doesn't necessarily mean, threes is
There
more
are just
about,
so many factors in
yeah,
Destiny.
and also like if I'm on the bottom but have, less deaths than the guy on top, I feel like that's a win. Because you're not necessarily throwing lives, play your life if you aren't doing so well as
And
also
even times I
team
bottom
shot.
fragged had like the most damage.
Yeah, that too.
Like it does not mean as much as people think.
Well, I mean, with stasis, I'm gonna have the most damage.
Yeah, but with stasis, a lot of things can happen, and
I did 10,000 damage. I got 1 kill. No, I love that. That's actually, dude, I'm stoked to have you guys both on here because you're both so like calm and focused and not like shut off from the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If that makes
Yeah.
sense. We're at an hour and 30. We ran a half hour over. Let's switch over to the practical and start pulling some people in so they can ask you some more questions.
Sure.
If you guys need to go use the restroom, grab a cup of coffee or water, chat can still type and ask questions and you guys can answer. And then we'll pick it back up in game.
All right.
Sounds good.